Welcome back to Tennis Desk, where we serve the biggest stories from the ATP and WTA tours. And today, we're diving into a controversy that has the tennis world divided. Let's get into it. Imagine standing on the sun-drenched courts of Miami, the humidity clinging to the air, and watching the world number one, a player usually defined by a permanent smile and supernatural athleticism, suddenly unravel before your eyes. This wasn't the Carlos Alcaraz we've come to expect. This wasn't the Carlitos, who dances through pressure points with the grace of a seasoned veteran. Instead, at the 2026 Miami Open, we saw a glimpse of something raw, something startlingly human, and frankly, something controversial. When Alcaraz turned toward his coaching box and uttered the words, "I can't take it anymore, I want to go home," the tennis world stopped in its tracks. How did the king of the court reach a breaking point so quickly? And more importantly, what does his team think about this sudden crack in the armor? To understand the weight of this moment, we have to look at the sheer momentum Alcaraz carried into the 2026 season. He started the year like a man possessed. His run at the Australian Open was nothing short of legendary, taking down giants like Alex de Minaur and Alexander Zverev before staring down Novak Djokovic in a high-stakes battle to claim his maiden title in Melbourne. He didn't stop there, carrying that fire straight into Doha to lift the trophy at the Qatar Open. By the time the tour reached the United States for the Sunshine Double, Alcaraz wasn't just a favorite, he was the undisputed titan of the ATP circuit. But as any tennis historian will tell you, the higher you climb, the thinner the air becomes. After a grueling semi-final loss to Daniil Medvedev at Indian Wells, the cracks began to surface. By the time he arrived at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, the fatigue, both mental and physical, seemed to be catching up. While he managed to navigate his opening match against Joao Fonseca, the third-round encounter with American Sebastian Corda became a pressure cooker. Corda, playing in front of a home crowd, wasn't just hitting the ball well, he was dismantling Alcaraz's rhythm. As the match slipped away in a tense three-set struggle, the frustration boiled over. That's when the cameras caught that haunting phrase, "I want to go home." It wasn't just a comment about a bad day at the office, it felt like a total systems failure from a player who is usually the embodiment of never give up. Naturally, the media frenzy was immediate. Critics and fans alike began questioning if the 22-year-old was burning out or if the pressure of the world number one ranking was becoming too heavy a burden. Enter Samuel Lopez, the man standing in the coaching box that day. Filling in for Juan Carlos Ferrero, Lopez had a front-row seat to the meltdown. In a recent, refreshingly honest discussion with Eurosport Spain, Lopez didn't hold back, but he also didn't join the chorus of alarmists. His take was nuanced, professional, and perhaps exactly what Alcaraz needs to hear. Lopez admitted quite candidly that this kind of behavior shouldn't be normalized. In the high-stakes environment of professional tennis, especially at the elite level Alcaraz occupies, maintaining a professional poker face is often seen as a prerequisite for greatness. When a player of his caliber admits defeat mentally before the final ball is called out, it sends a signal to the locker room that the king can be rattled. Lopez is right, we shouldn't just shrug our shoulders and say it's fine for the world's best player to check out mid-match. However, the coach also offered a vital perspective: we shouldn't give it more importance than it deserves. Think about the life of a 22-year-old who carries the expectations of an entire nation and the future of a sport on his shoulders. Alcaraz has been on a non-stop treadmill of high-intensity competition since the first week of January. He is a young man learning to navigate his own impulses, as Lopez put it. Tennis is a lonely sport. There are no teammates to sub you out when you're having a bad day. It's just you, your racket, and your thoughts. Sometimes, those thoughts get loud. Lopez's reaction suggests that while the team will address the mental discipline required to stay in the fight, they aren't panicking. They see it as a growing pain, a necessary lesson in the long, storied career they envision for him. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the outburst itself, but what it says about the state of the ATP Tour right now. We are watching a transition of eras. With the legends of the past slowly fading, Alcaraz is expected to be the protagonist of every single tournament he enters. That level of scrutiny is exhausting. The Sunshine Double is notoriously difficult because it requires a player to maintain peak physical and mental form for nearly a month across two different time zones and conditions. Falling short at Indian Wells and then crashing out in Miami isn't a catastrophe, it's a reality check. Now, the narrative shifts entirely. The hard courts of the American spring are behind him, and the red clay of Europe beckons. This is Alcaraz's natural habitat. The Monte-Carlo Masters, running from April 4th to April 12th, marks the beginning of a new chapter. As the reigning champion, the stakes couldn't be higher. He isn't just going there to play, he's going there to defend his crown and, perhaps more importantly, to reclaim his narrative. The clay season requires a different kind of mental toughness, patience, sliding, and long, grueling rallies. It is the perfect stage for Alcaraz to show that the Miami meltdown was a fluke, a momentary lapse in an otherwise brilliant season. Will we see a more composed, disciplined Alcaraz in Monte Carlo? Or has the "I want to go home" sentiment left a lingering shadow over his confidence? Samuel Lopez seems to believe that once the dirt starts flying under Alcaraz's shoes, that impulses will be channeled back into that trademark aggression. The transition to clay often acts as a reset button for many players. The slower pace allows for more tactical thinking and less of the frantic, serve-dominated pressure found on hard courts. For Alcaraz, it's an opportunity to turn the page on the Miami drama and remind everyone why he's the man to beat. As fans, we often forget that these athletes aren't robots. We see the trophies and the highlights, but we rarely see the exhaustion that happens behind the scenes. Alcaraz's moment of vulnerability in Miami makes him more relatable, even if it wasn't professional by traditional standards. It shows he cares, sometimes perhaps too much. As he prepares to step onto the clay of Monte Carlo, the eyes of the tennis world won't just be on his forehand or his drop shots, they'll be on his face. They'll be looking for that smile, that grit, and that unmistakable joy for the game. What do you think about Alcaraz's behavior in Miami? Was it just a young player reaching his limit, or is it a sign of a deeper issue with his mental game? And do you agree with coach Samuel Lopez that we shouldn't normalize it, or should we be more forgiving of the immense pressure these players face? The clay season is officially here, and the drama is only just beginning. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know if you think Carlitos will bounce back with a title in Monte Carlo or if the fatigue is here to stay, but that's just my take. I want to hear yours. Drop a comment below. Do you think Carlos Alcaraz can bounce back, or is the slump real? Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to Tennis Desk for your daily dose of pro tennis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next changeover.